and welcome back to your channel, Tales of Terror. Today's topic is a mystery that has baffled many for years. We will talk about the strange disappearance of more than 50 children after a massive fire broke out in their school. It has been 5 years since the accident, but there is still no evidence that the children died in the fire. Join me as we delve deeper into this mystery. The school suffered a huge fire that consumed a large part of the building, and more than 50 children were lost during the accident. However, there is no concrete evidence to prove that these children perished in the flames, leading to speculations about their fate. 5 years later, I was assigned to the school after I struggled to find work. While trying to contact the students, I discovered that they were afraid of the back building where the fire had started. It is strange that the administration left the building unused, despite its size. Over time, I noticed that many teachers are leaving the school despite the staff shortage. I was surprised to learn that the principal had transferred them to other schools. Later, I found out that 10 new teachers had been hired, and they all looked eerily alike and had never spoken to anyone. In class, they would simply sit with the students and not teach anything. Jack, the manager, was happy to have them and seemed supportive. As time passed, the students began to act strangely. They were clearly agitated and hardly interacted with each other, except for the first day. It was unsettling to watch such behavior, and I couldn't help but wonder what was going on behind the scenes. In a terrifying twist, no one seemed to leave their classrooms during recess, only coming out at the end of the day. When I entered the classroom, I found a student sitting and crying uncontrollably. I tried to console him and asked him what was wrong. In a childish voice, full of fear, he told me that he heard his father's voice coming from the old building when he went to the bathroom. When he opened the door, he saw his father standing there, looking frightened. The student fled in terror. I reassured him that I would speak to the school administration and arrange for his father to pick him up and take him home to rest. However, the student shocked me by telling me of his father's death. At that moment, a shiver ran down my spine, and I tried to calm the student down by telling him that it was probably just a joke. But deep down, I was truly terrified. In a frightening turn of events, I decided to explore the abandoned building on my own while I waited for the school day to end. When I entered through the decrepit door, I was met with a scene straight out of a horror movie. The entire building was burned to ashes and dust by flames. The building had 2 floors, and as I approached the second floor, I heard children's voices coming from behind a closed door. Suddenly I hear a loud scream and understand that I need to break the lock to free the children. With a stone in hand, I broke the lock and opened the door, only to find the room empty. But as soon as I turned to leave, the door slammed shut, and my phone's flashlight went out. I was left in complete darkness with only the sounds of crying children surrounding me. I felt something touch my hands, then something grabbed my legs, arms, and head. I fell to the ground, and I felt my hands cover my face and shoulders. I thought I was going to die until I passed out. When I opened my eyes, I found myself outside the gate of the building, and there was a child standing in front of me, laughing. He helped me up and whispered to me not to try to figure out what was going on in the building before it disappeared into the darkness. I'm not sure if what I went through was real or just in my mind. I didn't enter the building, but I somehow found myself there. When I got home, I heard my mom crying in her room. I entered to find her sitting on the floor, her hands tied in the corner of the room. I noticed a child there, but their features were blurred, and there was only a blank face. I foolishly tried to touch the child, but they suddenly attacked me, causing me great pain. When I opened my eyes, I realized that I was still inside the building. I heard approaching footsteps and voices speaking in the darkness. I caught a glimpse of Jack and some of the teachers, dressed in unusual clothes, moving around the building as if they were guarding every inch of it. They entered through a door on the ground floor, and I followed them without noticing. The stairs leading down were pitch black, and I couldn't see anything, but I went down about 30 steps below ground level. I found myself in a huge hall, and in the center a large table surrounded by 5 chairs, and strange drawings depicting a figure that seemed to be a mixture of human and animal were carved on the walls. Each person took a seat at the table, with Jack at the head. As they began to move, 2 individuals entered the room, donning peculiar masks and carrying a screaming child. They fastened the child to the table, upon which eerie symbols had been carved before Jack produced a knife and decapitated the child in a split second. Blood and symbols splattered everywhere. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the room, and the group rose to their feet, chanting in an incomprehensible tongue. From the darkness emerged a figure with a bestial lower body covered in shaggy hair, but I could not make out the rest because I was jolted from behind and lost consciousness. When I got up in the teacher's room, Jack, the headmaster, greeted me with a smile and commented on how tired I looked. Confused, I asked him how I got here, but Jack told me I had been transferred to a bigger school with a higher salary. Even though I protested that I felt comfortable where I was, Jack insisted that I didn't belong here and that I deserved better. Feeling uneasy about the situation, I noticed a spot of blood on Jack's neck and realized he saw me as a threat. In the end, I accepted the new job offer. Months later, I returned to the old school and discover it burned down and over 150 children have disappeared. The fire broke out in the same old building, leaving me frustrated with the enormity of it all. Today's story is over. Thanks for watching. If you like the story, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. This is an incentive for us to post more.